What up, everybody? It is the Gumbo Pot Podcast, and I am your host, Chef Nigel Henderson, with
your co-host, Omar, as always. What's up, everybody? It's nice to see you guys, hear you guys, listen to us again.
Yes, and this is season 2 of the Gumbo Pot Podcast. And a couple things look different. We are virtual, for one. We're still in the middle of a pandemic, for 2.
True.
And we're not in the studio anymore. So we had to kind of switch some things up. And now we are doing this virtually. Omar's in his house, in his lovely, beautiful backdrop. And I'm in my apartment in Inglewood.
That's right. I borrowed this set from the last Tron movie. And I was like, just let me get some of those lights from this.
How much they
from
cost?
the light cycle. I think on Amazon for like $15.
Well, in true Gumbo Pot Podcast fashion, we have to cheers because we are
absolutely
sipping while we talk. So let's go ahead and do that. Bing.
Cheers, sir. Bing, bing,
Omar,
bing.
what you drinking?
I want to apologize. So right now I'm drinking Jim Beam and Coke because I had a lot of Jim Beam left, and I was like, I don't want to sit there sipping Jim Beam, so I'm gonna make myself like a really strong drink, so it'll make me sip it, but it'll still have the taste of Coca-Cola. Because I got some really nice stuff for my birthday. Had a birthday recently. For anybody who doesn't know,
Happy birthday!
I just turned. Thank you. I turned 40, and a lot of the homies dropped off some bottles. So I've got a lot of really good stuff that I do like to sip on. But when you were like, "Hey, let's do that," I was already 2 drinks in. So I was like, "We're gonna keep drinking."
Nice. Well, good. He's already toasty a little bit, ladies and gentlemen.
A little bit. I do want to apologize to whoever's actually watching this. I've tried to update my internet, and it's taking forever for it to come together. So if I look a little choppy, it's definitely on my end. ATT is not cutting it. Oh, don't tell them I said that. I mean another company, another 3-letter company that sounds like, we could call them BDD.
BDD, Jesus Christ. Well, for those that are watching and those that are hearing, the audio is amazing. The video is great too. We can still see your beautiful face and your nice hair. It's kind of swooped to the side a little bit, baby.
Look at me. I used the blow dryer today. They taught me how to use the blow dryer after 40 years.
Oh, wow. I'm scared.
They were like, turns out you don't just have to throw gel from the Dollar Tree in your hair. I was like, really?
Did you hear that? They're shooting fireworks still in Inglewood right now.
Why? Everybody that we care about is won. Everything.
Except for the Dodgers. They're still waiting on that. So whoever was selling fireworks, they made $1 million through the pandemic if they were stationed in Inglewood, because every day there's fireworks going on.
Yeah, it's nonstop.
Shit. So, a couple crazy things have happened. Like I said before, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Things have changed. If you can see, our sexy faces are a little bit rounder because we've been sitting at home eating and drinking.
Eating.
Trying not to be stressed out. But I know for me, I had to take a pause from recording the podcast because it was like, the pandemic was going on. You had the protests and the reasons why we're protesting. It just was a lot. And I was like, for the podcast, I couldn't even focus. I couldn't focus on work. I couldn't focus on the podcast. I needed to kind of get my headspace and figure out, where I'm at. And so, we took a pause for the cause, but we're back. We're energized, and we're gonna bring
ready to go.
Great guests to you. Some interesting stories. We're gonna get a little bit more about myself and Omar, and all that good shit. And we're still gonna drink. We're still gonna have good conversation.
Man, nonstop.
We're still gonna talk a lot of shit, but we're gonna change it up a little bit. We're gonna give you a little bit more. So, Omar, without all that talking, what have you been up to?
Man, quite a lot and yet nothing at all at the same time, if you will, right? So, still obviously working from home. So I'm lucky to have kept my job throughout all this, but it is literally sitting at the dining room table for 8 hours a day. So that's kind of a pain, right? Because not because I'm working, but because my house is now my office, but I don't have an actual office. You know what I mean? Some people have like a home office and it's a separate thing. My place isn't built that way. Like, so I am doing all of my work in the dining room, which in turn I'll just turn around and then go to the living room when I'm done working. Right. So it's a very weird
kind of a
thing.
weird break.
Yeah, it was interesting for me to get used to because it's like my house is also the place that I'm like frustrated at all the time now because of work. You know what I mean? It's trying to separate. But got that underway, and then speaking of like when you stopped podcasting, I actually started podcasting with Nadia, my girlfriend at the time. Now my fiance. See, so there's a ton of stuff that I've been doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you need to unpack. It's like, nothing really happened. I got engaged, though, but I started a podcast.
I got engaged and started a podcast. But yet at the same time, I'm not really... You know, when people are like, what you been up to? You're just like, nothing, because the days blend. You know what I mean?
It's all blurry.
But yeah, I've definitely done some stuff. But, I'm not real big on like telling people like it's weird. It's weird for a guy who has now 2 podcasts. It's interesting.
Podcast, but you don't want to talk about your stuff.
It's weird. It's different. Like, like the podcast that I have with Nadia, it's called We Everywhere, Baby. And that started because we were going to be traveling a lot. Hey! Everywhere, baby. See, we were gonna travel. That went to hell. So we, after sitting around for a couple of months, like just being like, what are we gonna do? We're just like, let's just do the show anyway. So we did it. We're doing it anyway, but it's more of just about like what's happening during our week, not so much about like announcing big things. But no, that's a lie too, brother, because we just did a whole podcast about the engagement. So I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to keep drinking this thing.
You're going to keep drinking that and you're just going to keep making it.
I know. I don't know. Maybe I'll start another, maybe I'll just start something else. What should I start? Another podcast?
Yeah, you told me you had another concept for us, so you go ahead and start that one too.
I know.
Busybody.
I got a lot. It's just like, I was like, man, I want to just do more stuff, like just as much as I can. And because Nadia had the Ladies Like Us podcast, which got basically canceled because they canceled a couple of the shows on that channel. Nadia was really jonesing to still podcast. I was like, oh, okay, let's just do it. I was like, we happen to be on a hiatus. You just basically got, your show ended, so let's just do something. And she was really gung ho about it. She's like, yeah. And after that, I started thinking of other things that you and I could like put together. Like maybe if this wasn't going to work out guest wise, I was like, maybe we can figure out some other stuff. Especially because you've been doing a lot of online cooking, actually. So over to Nigel for What's Up with Nigel.
Well, man, like I was saying earlier, I took a minute, had to kind of regroup. At the start of all this, I was doing virtual cooking situations. I was on Instagram doing live cooking situations with guests.
Right.
My business partner, DJ Trump, and we tried some Instagram virtual situations. He was DJing, I was cooking. And then, top of everything, when everything started kind of shut down and the world became a shit show, I didn't have it in me, bro. Like, I didn't even want to cook. I didn't cook for another 2 months. I just wasn't in my head. Me and my lady, Sandy, we were just ordering food, or going to people's homes and saying, can we have a plate through the window? It wasn't in me. And so
Right.
to kickstart it, I it's like either barbecue or boohoo.
Mm-hmm.
So I started doing online virtual classes, cooking classes, and
Right.
I started designing these comfy sweaters and T-shirts that you see. Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And kind of building out, what it is that's Nigel, and then also planning for the second season of the Gumbo Pot. And so, it's been a journey. We're still going through it, but we're
Mm-hmm.
here now. So back at you, baby. That's where we at. We're
Yeah,
here.
yeah, man. It's been this year's been insane, bro. Like
Understatement.
obviously, you know what I mean. It from it's interesting. Like to me, it's almost like the things keep compounding and stuff just keeps compounding, and
Man.
I'm just like, where is that gonna stop? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean from what was the first thing this year? God, was Kobe first?
Kobe. Yep.
So Kobe passed away in what, February?
I believe so.
Wow. So see that there was that, and then the coronavirus thing really started taking off,
Mm-hmm.
and then
then George
and then like
Floyd is
for
like, okay.
oh my god, and then you got not to mention like all our personal stuff that got kind of
Thrown off. Mm-hmm.
just thrown off. Like little things like the camping trip that we were gonna take to what I would consider bigger things was my trip to Amsterdam to actually get engaged.
Yeah.
All of that stuff got canceled. To more police brutality, to riots, just like it just boom, like right now what with Armenia, like all it's like the world is just burning, bro. Like it will not stop, and it's crazy. Like I said the other day, closer to us, like oh god, maybe half a month ago, a couple weeks ago, like Beverly Hills was a hot spot. Like if you weren't, like supposed to be there, it was real tough to even drive through there. Like man, I don't even know where it's gonna end. It's been crazy. So I understand you not feeling like, hey, I want to talk to people, entertain and do a show and da 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 da, as opposed to like me, who's the opposite. Where I was like, if I don't do something, I'm just gonna like, I'm not the quiet, like think about the world kind of stuff. I'm just like I like to just be like, oh my god, did you see that? You know what I mean? I guess I'm saying I don't think as much as you.
Well, I don't even know if it was thinking. It was just, man, bro, it was just so much. And like you said, one after the other. And then I lost people too during it. It was
I
just
know.
it was like, fuck, I don't know how much more you can take. And then also at the same time, find your voice. Cause at the same, I'm feeling this way, but honestly, who wants to talk about recipes or a fucking cookie recipe when shit's on fire outside? And
I know
that's how
the
it was for
fires.
me. It was just like, all right, well,
Man,
fuck. I don't give a damn about a cookie. But
it's
here
crazy,
we are.
but well, yeah, but also you notice, even on your online cooking classes that you've been doing, they've been sold out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So people want it. People want to do it.
And that's what I had to get over myself and do it, because it was also like, well, you don't have any more jobs, you're unemployed, so you better figure some shit out. And I've always been very entrepreneurial. Like even when I had a job, I had three other things, and I run my catering business, I do the podcast, but also, I run things through my company, The Feast LA. But like at the top of it, when you see all of your jobs, all of your projects that you've been working on for the next 6 months, and when I say projects, I mean dollar signs, and that shit, bow, you're just like, oh. And then you start thinking about, oh shit, how am I going to take care of my family? I know one thing I did. I bought a bunch of guns. Make sure I'm protected. I
Yeah, you
built a
did.
gun. I bought a gun and a bunch of equipment.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, there was like a whole group of people just like that I knew. It was just like guns, 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 guns. I was like, oh, all right.
You're gonna borrow
I
ours. That's
I'm just gonna have to ask you for one, bro. I can't do it.
You can't have any of my guns, damn it.
I'm not. I mean, I'm not gonna have it. Just when the shit goes down, you don't live that far away. I think I could run over to you and be like, "Let me get a gun real quick."
Y'all will have to bug out and come with us because I'm not giving up at that point. During the
I
zombie
know,
apocalypse, you better hop on, baby, because
you can come find me. I will be holed up in a Costco. I feel like that's always my plan. Now I'm giving it away to everybody, but I feel like that's one of the in like a zombie apocalypse kind of deal. Let's say, right?
That's what you would do. Costco.
Yeah, you want to hold down a Costco, a Sam's Club, any like one of those, right? Because you're like, look, I'm. There's so much in there that you can, if you can secure the entrances, right, which are normally doors that roll down, like
Jesus Christ.
If you could just leave that locked and just secure one, I mean, until everybody outside comes to get you, but
well. That's
it's possible.
That, makes sense. I mean, you got to protect a large structure with a Costco. So you might as well.
But like,
wasn't there a movie that was situated around that?
Well, there was a zombie movie. All right, there was a zombie movie called. They made the remake of Dawn of the Dead. Day of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead, and they remade it with Mekhi Phifer and Ving Rhames.
Wasn't that 25 days later?
No, it was called. It was
Dawn
what you're talking about. It's called Dawn of the Dead.
Yes, Dawn of the Dead. But it was a remake of an older one. You're right.
Of an older movie.
Right.
Of an older Dawn of the Dead. Right. But in that one, they end up at a mall.
Yep, I remember.
And
I
they're
just
trying
saw it,
to hold down a mall. Right, and they have to like build a bus to get out because they can't hold down the mall anymore.
And there was a guy across the street who was sniping everybody.
Yeah, and they were holding signs, playing chess. Yeah.
So that's how you envision your zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, and I figured by the time that I can't hold it down, I'll know if it's gonna get better or not.
Well, from your lips to God's ears, Omar during the zombie apocalypse wants it to be like the Dawn of the Dead.
Like the Dawn of the Dead.
But those zombies were fast, homie. I'll say this: if the zombie apocalypse happens, I want them to be kind of like Walking Dead zombies versus World War Z zombies.
Right. That's slow versus fast.
Because fast zombies.
Yeah, well, that's exactly
you're
it.
Fucked.
Well, so here's the thing. Okay, let's say that you managed to get away, right? They're either because they're slow or because you're quick. And let's say that we make it to the Costco. I'm like, yo, bring your guns and bring, whoever you want. Not too many people, but enough. Like, let's say I'll give you 4.
4 people?
I'll give you 4. I'll take 4. Yeah, because that'll cover. I think I'll have to choose between one of my parents. But by then, what are you gonna do? Jesus but Christ. You know what I'm saying? We'll see which one. Like, I'm like, look, if I take you, Ma, you're not really gonna help. Or hey, Dad, I don't know. You can kind of. I don't know which one I would pick, but we'll have to see what it's like at that. Or maybe they won't even make it, and then we'll have extra spaces.
I'm worried about you, bro. You thought about this way too much. I've only gone as far as to make sure that I have food, I have first aid equipment, I have camping equipment, I have guns.
All which can be found at the Costco. Just bring your guns.
Not the guns.
I guess if you're in like the middle of America, you could do it at a Walmart, right? Like
100%.
Because we don't sell guns. They don't sell guns at our Walmarts here in
California.
Definitely not.
Unless you're out of
maybe California, but not LA.
Maybe, but as far as I know, nope. And you can't basically sell guns in the city of Los Angeles.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Gun store in Culver City. Gun store in the Valley. Redstone, shout out. That's where I got
Oh, that's
one of
right.
my guns. The only black-owned gun store on the West Coast, or excuse me, in California, which is
Yo, they
crazy.
were running out of guns.
How the fuck do you
you
run
remember
out
that?
of
They were like,
guns?
"Yo, we're out of nines."
Bro,
Like,
I was
sorry.
building my gun and it took 2 months just to get all of the parts to build the gun. And half of the parts were from out of state. The main part obviously is legal.
Crazy.
It's through, a gun store
Right.
here, Redstone. But it was a lot. And I was just like, wow. So everybody's buying guns. People are hanging people randomly, and I'm gonna have to protect
Bro.
myself. Zombie apocalypse.
Bro, do you remember the explosion that went off in what was it? Was that Beirut?
I remember
I don't
the
know.
footage. I can't.
And it's funny we keep going back and forth, but it's like every time we're talking, because we started talking about everything that was going on this year, like things that I didn't mention at the beginning are popping up. Like, remember when Australia burned to the ground and like basically
that fire that they stopped talking about?
Yeah, is it, what was the final count of animals? Because I heard they lost all of their animals. It's like, basically, that place sucks. This year has been the worst.
And now we're in the middle of an election. And we have
the worst election.
Yo, bro, this dude is this is literally a reality TV show in real life, in our face, and it's our country, and it sucks.
It's crazy, man. I do my best to never talk to anybody about politics.
You can't.
Like,
you can't.
I'm not versed enough to like make real hard hitting, compelling arguments. So unlike the rest of America, I keep my mouth shut, knowing that I don't know everything.
The only time
you know what I mean?
Omar keeps his mouth shut.
That's the only time, really, because it's just like, I don't know anything about that. Like, I don't talk to people about religion because there's just no point.
Jesus. He went to a Catholic high school, by the way, with me.
Yeah, and that's why I know that there's no point. But I've been looking, you can't get away from how crazy this election and this whole political cycle. From the jump, but it's particularly now how crazy it's been. The debates have been insane. You got flies on people's heads.
Flies land on shit.
Man, it was insane. It's insane.
It's insane. Well, without getting too heavy, because we could talk for years and days and all that good stuff. In true Gumbo Pot fashion, the questions that we ask our guests, we're going to ask each other. So, Omar, right now, what the hell have you been cooking? And what has been your guilty pleasure?
Whew. Okay. Okay. I'm going to say first what I've been cooking, because that's not what made me laugh. What I've been cooking has been Hello Fresh meals. Okay, so cute. Again, they obviously, it's not sponsored. They don't sponsor any of our podcasts. But I will say that even from the beginning of this pandemic, where everybody was afraid that they weren't going to be able to buy anything, till to this day, that's been food that's been fresh, that has just arrived to my door. You know what I mean? So I got to be like, that was a good decision, because I was with them before this all started happening, like maybe 4 months before it happened. And then I was like, okay, cool. So that's really helped me with my waste, because, like, for someone who doesn't know how to cook, like, you know what I mean? I'm not a chef. I don't think that way, that I'm like, oh, I've got this, this, and this. I could whip this up. You know what I mean? Like, I'd have to literally plan a vinaigrette, even though I have, you know what I'm saying? Like,
all the ingredients to make it, but you still got to plan this shit out.
Exactly. I have to be like, man, I'm going to have to make a vinaigrette. Do I have everything? You know what I mean? So that's been good. So I've been cooking a lot of that. I've been baking, though. That's the thing I hadn't been doing before. So everybody took something new, right? Up. I took up baking, and primarily pies.
I'd pay to see this motherfucker baking a pie.
Man, I'm making pies. It's been my favorite thing to really culinary wise. It's like, man, I've been killing the pies because it's not as hard as I thought it was, and they're delicious. Pie crust is one of the best. If I could, I guess you could just pre-bake it, but
pre-bake it, par bake it, bake it, however you do, baby.
I don't have any of the marbles or anything, you know what I mean, or those cooking beans or whatever. And I was like, should I put rice in there? I was like, man. So I haven't actually done that step of like the pre-baking or par baking, whatever it's called. Like all of my pies have been straight from.
It's gonna blow your head.
All right.
Parchment paper, beans,
and
you have beans.
I do have beans.
See, exactly. Yeah. Beans are your pie weight. Booyah. If you would have taken my class this past weekend.
You made a quiche. That was like a quiche, right? So you guys did the
lump crab quiche. The crust it was a butter nori crust.
With the seaweed?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's why you were talking to Bobby Coleslaw about it earlier.
Yes.
Or the night before when we did the Hot Ones challenge.
Yes, speaking of what I do have the footage. We will release that soon.
You do? Oh, so funny. Oh my God, we got to talk about that. But as far as the questions were, that's what I'm cooking. Just like all these like different, really simple but complicated to the novice, if you will. Like they're like, oh, I cook pork loin with fig whatever sauce, and like a vinaigrette, this and that, and I cook this. Just stuff that you'd be like, this is all day one like stuff. But to us, we're like, hey. Yeah, it's good. Then the baking of the pies. And as far as my guilty pleasure, though, are you talking food-wise?
Food-wise. I don't want to know any of the guilty pleasure, no porn or any of that shit.
All right. Guilty pleasure food-wise has been Trader Joe's vegan cookies, which I'm not a big, like, I avoid a lot of vegan stuff, but...
on principle.
Just on principle. Like, I was like, which is stupid because when you're like, someone's like, oh, we've got vegan butter. Why would that upset me? Right? It's not like I'm like, whoa, there's no steak in this butter. Like,
and I might get attacked, but sometimes there are some vegans that attack you for the food that you consume. So in utter defiance, you're like, man, yes, I want regular motherfucking butter. I don't want that motherfucking vegan shit. I want motherfucking cow's milk butter from motherfucking Europe. I want some French butter, full cream, none of that motherfucking plant shit.
Man,
although there's nothing wrong with vegan butter.
Well, that's the thing is that Von Von, like, so she's not a vegan, but she eats a lot of vegan stuff because she tries to avoid as much meat and stuff as possible. So every time she shows up, she always has some new vegan something, and it's always good. Like, that chick's batting like 1,000 as far as like introducing me to stuff. So she was like, "Oh, check this out! It's like a vegan butter, like this Greek vegan butter or something. What's it made out of? Cashews?
Mykonos or something. We cooked.
Yeah,
we did that. We had a whole weekend where we were in Big Bear when Omar proposed, and there was food all over the place, and that's what he's referencing. And it's very good. I've used it for some clients. I've used it before. That's why I said there's nothing wrong with it, but it's to each his own.
Yeah.
My only problem with anything vegan or vegetarian is when you try to create something that's not meat out of something else. So fake chicken wings or like, I don't need that. I don't. And this is the meat. I eat a lot of meat and I eat a lot of vegetables. I have a vegetable garden. I compost. I have all that stuff. Right?
Yeah, we definitely don't hate vegetables, but we just love meat.
Yeah, you are a meat eater. But pause. But you know, I like. Needless to say, I like both. So I like meat. I'll take my vegetarian stuff. I like my vegan stuff, but I'm not gonna attack you about the food that you eat.
Right. But like I said, because of that stuff, I've been like, okay. And Naughty was like, yo, these vegan cookies from Trader Joe's are good. I promise. I was like, all right, fine, buy them. Yo, killing those. Killing Trader Joe's snacks. Like, that's insane. But shout out to the vegans. They're making delicious cookies.
There you go. I don't know if I have a guilty pleasure. I've been cooking all kinds of shit. Definitely with the classes that I've been teaching, doing a lot of different gumbos. So Creole gumbo, seafood gumbo. Definitely a lot frozen in my refrigerator. I invited you guys over for after one of the classes.
Yep. That was great. It was a great day.
It was a great day. You had blue crabs, you had scrimps, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Guilty pleasure. There's a problem. I have a problem. And I have a problem with cookies. I've always had a problem with cookies. To the fact I will not buy them. I will not keep them in the house.
Okay.
But Missy Fee over here loves sweets, snacks, and will buy cookies. And so what do? If there's a fucking cookie, I'm gonna eat it. And then she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. She'll say, hey, don't you want to make some cookies? And I'll say, sure, I want to make some cookies. Shit.
Yeah.
And I'll make some cookies. Eat them all that night. It'll be like 12 of them. I'll eat them all because I'm a fucking cookie monster, and that's what I do.
Yeah, I try to do that too, like not buy cookies. Like, you know what I mean? Because outside of those Trader Joe's ones, because obviously those are the new jam. I used to go and buy like the big boxes, like the Costco boxes of Oreos or something, where you got a ton of sleeves. Because I would throw a couple in the freezer. I don't know if you ever have frozen Oreos, like just out of the freezer.
What did I say? Man. I don't buy anything because I'm gonna eat it. I know exactly what the fuck you're talking about.
So I had to stop. Yeah, I was like, okay. Yes. I feel like it's the most adult thing I've done. Not even getting engaged. It's not buying cookies. It's just telling myself like, maybe you shouldn't be eating every one of those.
I don't buy any damn desserts. Cookies, donuts, cake. I love it all, and I'll eat it. That's why I don't buy it. But someone else will.
Yeah. Have you ever bought anything like online? Like I've done
Understatement. I've bought so many things.
No, I'm talking about food though. I'm talking about food like from Amazon, like cookies. Like you're saying you're not buying cookies, right?
Nope.
So I went on Amazon and I have bought like boxes of cookies that are just shit I've never heard of, just because I'm on Amazon while I happen to be hungry or whatever. And I'm like, oh, these cookies are from these cookies are from Italy, or these cookies are from this or this. So I've just been getting like random stuff like that. Like I bought a gang of beef jerky, like pounds of beef jerky.
You like beef jerky? I like beef jerky.
I love beef jerky. You don't like beef jerky? Because it's meat. Like beef sure, it's dry.
Is horrible, bro.
Jerky. What are you talking about, bro?
When have you had a good beef jerky? Tell me.
I just had like 8 pounds of like beef jerky is good.
Yo, I don't.
I'm telling you. I can't believe
we're gonna have to do a poll. Jerky. We're gonna have to ask a bunch of people. We're gonna do this. All right, here we go.
What do you have against beef jerky?
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Gumbo Pot Podcast, and Omar and I are having a discussion about beef jerky.
And now we need
do you like it, or is it weird as hell?
I personally like it. So if you like it, you're on my side. You're joining Oh Marvelous in the love of beef jerky because it's delicious. You can eat it. It's like a great snack. It's got protein. I don't care about the nutritional value of it, though. I just like the taste. It's good.
So what's
I like
your favorite beef jerky? And please don't say Slim Jim.
Okay. I will eat a Slim Jim. Shouts out to Nicole Russell who bought me 2 gigantic Slim Jims, but that's not my
God.
go-to. Like, cause that I don't even consider. I consider that its own thing. Like, that's
When you
not
bite
jerky.
a Slim Jim, there's a grease content that pops out when you
Slim
bite it.
Jim is like a dehydrated sausage. Like that, you know what I'm saying? Like if you take like a link and you just let it dehydrate and shrivel, that's what I
Jesus
feel like
Christ.
a Slim Jim is. I don't consider it beef jerky. Beef jerky, okay, as far as what I like not, sure you got like your Jack Links and all of that stuff, like, but I like original, not like I don't need teriyaki. I don't want it to be sweet. I don't like sweet beef jerky. It's got to be just like original salt and pepper jerky. The thinner, the better. The thinner the slab of meat,
So you're
like the
giving
better.
me a whole other level of beef jerky. The only beef jerky that I know is a fucking Slim Jim or that bullshit that's sold at AM PM when you're driving cross country. And all that has ever
But
done is fucked up my stomach.
you're talking about just like sticks, right? Like meat sticks,
Meat,
like a
beef
beef
jerky.
jerky, but no, dude, beef jerky is essentially just dehydrated flank steak, really, I guess I would say. Right? Would you say or skirt?
So technically, yeah, but okay, I need you to put me on this beef jerky that tastes amazing because
Oh man.
every beef jerky that I have tasted tastes the
Well,
same. Uh-oh, don't knock over your
I
computer.
know earthquake.
Every beef jerky that I've had, it reminds me of either the same thing or Slim Jim.
Mm-hmm. Nah, man, you gotta have some good. You know what's the worst? I wouldn't do it now because we live in a totally different world. But back before COVID and all this, I would occasionally buy a piece of jerky from like a gas station. You know how they have that right by it's usually by the register.
Yes.
Just like a bunch of what would you look like prep bowls
You just
filled with.
open it and put your fingers all over and just grab it.
Well, you lose little tweezers and you're like,
Do
yo,
they
I'll
have
just take
tweezers?
this little slab of jerky. Only the gas stations I go to. I go to only the best gas
Pre-COVID.
stations with open
Pre-COVID
air
now.
meat.
It's all wrapped up. You
I
better
go
not
to
eat
only the
that old
finest
ass
quality
meat.
gas stations.
He
But
buys
yeah, man,
cheap
I'll
gas
definitely
too.
put you on some stuff. Like you can
I
even
don't
get like
know,
a
bro.
little bag of like old Oberto or something like that you can find. Man, don't get any turkey jerky. That's whack. If you're, I mean, it's okay, whatever. But man, and don't get any of those new ones that are like adding extra shit, like Crave or something like that. Like they make good jerky, but it's like I don't need all that extra shit. Like I just want like some cowboy ass beef jerky. Actually,
Jesus Christ.
what's funny is my favorite is there's a kind of meat that it's called cecina,
Mm-hmm.
and you get it. It's like basically dehydrated meat. It's like really thin, and then they reconstitute it. Like my mom used to make it all the time. So it's a big Mexican like cut, if you will, or right of meat. It's called cecina, and they would rehydrate it while cooking, and it would become something else. But I like to eat it dry, and it's almost like paper thin, like sliced. Like think of deli sliced steak, dried and salted. I don't feel like I'm selling you on it, man.
Yeah, bro. I'm just gonna have to try it, and that's where we're going. So.
Okay, totally.
Well,
You're wrong, but
I mean, if you fuck with it, I'm open to try it. We might have to film it, and Omar's top 10 beef jerkies of the world,
oh my
and
god,
the
I don't know that I could.
top
If
five
we, yeah, top
or
five.
top
I could
10,
do a top five. I
but
could
not
do
a
a
top
top
10.
five.
All
I
right,
don't know if
so
I could do a top 10 because if you do a top 10, then you start adding jerkies that like you don't. Do you know what I mean? Like I
you
feel
don't
like
really
now I'm
like.
just
Okay.
adding stuff that I wouldn't really eat just to rate it, as opposed to like when you go to Vegas, there's always that alien jerky. I always stop there and get stuff. There was a good jerky place in Big Bear, but we didn't get to stop that time.
I did
It was
see it.
closed.
I did see it. Speaking of
Mm-hmm.
Big Bears, excuse me, I made some fire ass ribs, beef and
Oh,
pork.
sir. That
That's all I
okay.
had to say.
I've had ribs. Obviously, who hasn't? But I haven't had a beef rib like that beef rib you made, if not ever, in a long time. Because I would say it might have been probably my favorite beef rib I've ever had. I got to give you mad props. It was so good. Oh, so good. I almost didn't even touch the pork ribs. I did for, after I brought them home. I think I ate like exclusively pork ribs for
Pull your
quite
mic
some
up. It's
time
hitting
after
a
that.
little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
Let me give you the history on me for beef ribs. So, growing up, that's how I learned because we didn't eat pork. It wasn't a religious thing. It was just
You
that's
didn't eat it.
didn't eat it. And then my stepdad at the time, he taught me. That's how he taught me. And so, low and slow, and I haven't made them in years. And bro, when I had them ribs for your birthday, it hit
Man.
me. Brought me back to my childhood. Brought me back to the point where I'm like, I love pork ribs, but I'm going to be doing more beef ribs.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. Whenever I go get ribs, okay, so if you were to ask me like what's your standard rib order, like I'd be like, okay. I always if the place sells it, I'll get a slab of small ends. Like that's usually what I'll prefer to eat. And then, but no matter what I'm getting, if I'm getting like either small ends or like if I'm just doing like a quick lunch, like rib tips. Um, but I always get a beef rib or two. Any place that I go, I always
really?
Because I always judge them by their beef rib.
I don't see too many people selling beef ribs anywhere in Los Angeles.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Like Woody's has it.
Yeah,
I don't
but
order it from there.
I guess maybe it's
I'm not
just
gonna
that
lie,
I was never
but
like, that's the spot I'm gonna get beef ribs from.
I know. I always order like whatever. If usually they're. I guess I don't want to be like Chris Rock and be like, let me just get
Can I
one
get
rib.
one rib?
You know what I mean? I'm like,
well, with a beef rib, you get.
But it's so I'll do like, but I'll normally go with pork because you can usually trust that it's going to be easier to eat. You know what I mean? Because beef ribs can
It's more
be a
forgiving.
bit of a pain. Yeah, definitely.
And you have to cook beef. You have to cook it a long time. You have to treat it like a lady.
Man, it was crazy. We ate, everything was good, and then I remember later that night, I was just eating them cold, man. Like, I mean, we hadn't put them in the fridge or anything; they were just under foil on the counter. So I just kept going in there and grabbing beef ribs. I don't think I ate any sides till the next day.
Jesus
I
Christ.
just literally put ribs on my plate and the biscuit, I think, and then just no, you made grits too. I did have the grits.
Yeah, famous for those.
Nigel, you hooked it up.
We're just gonna have to do another one. We're gonna have to another cookout, beef ribs, and we're going to do that. So
see, I don't. What's this? How long How long was this whole cooking process for the rib? Just the beef ribs.
Beef ribs, I smoked for 5 hours, and then we went up to Big Bear, and then I smoked them, I wrapped them. I had a little bit of sauce that I made to kind of give it some love. Wrapped it and then heated it up at Big Bear for another 2-3 hours at 250. So basically extended the cooking process. But, we were working with a crazy stove. So,
Would you ever have done it that way before?
I would have kept it on the smoker, wrapped it, and let it finish cooking on the smoker.
Do you think that had anything to do with it? No, like you wouldn't have to recreate it. You wouldn't have to be like, I'm going to smoke these for 5 hours and then just let them chill till the next day. And
it's literally just the cooking process because once I wrap them and put them back in there, the liquid, it steams, the fat renders even more, and then you get what you got. But it's actually better the day of when you take it off
Right.
than to cool it all the way down, to wrap it, bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
But it worked out. It worked out, and I'm glad it worked out for you, brother. We just got to do it
Yeah, I
again.
mean, I'm still thinking about him.
Me too, honestly.
I'm not. That's what it is. We got to get together. We got to do it. I'll put it on it for finally for once.
Hey, there we go. Well, anyway, we could talk for days about our ribs, about all the craziness.
Man, we should. I don't know if we could do an episode, or we got to talk about that Netflix rib competition.
Oh, definitely.
Because that barbecue competition wasn't. Oh my god, man, it's so funny.
You put me on that show. We're going to talk about it. That might be part 2. We might get a little tidbit of that before we get into our future guests. So,
heck yeah.
Well, it's the Gumbo Pot Podcast. We checking in. This is episode 1, season 2, virtually.
That's right.
We're still going to be bringing guests. We're going to be talking about food. We're going to be drinking. We might be doing other shit too. Who knows? Might get a little spooky on your ass. But we just want to check in with everybody. Let everyone know that we're doing. Make sure you check out We Are Everywhere, Baby. We're Everywhere, Baby podcast.
Yeah. You can find us on IG. It's just We Everywhere Baby together. We Everywhere Baby podcast. But you could obviously just find that off of my page on Instagram. And I'm at OMRVLZ. Speaking of Instagram, I got this sweater made by one of those cheap Instagram ads. And this is like
fancy, bro.
It was like, do you want to order this? And I was like, you know what, you got me. I'm gonna order it, and I got it, and I guess I'm happy with it. But this feels of the lowest quality.
Hey, but you have Oh Marvelous on it.
I do. It's all about branding now. You got the Gumbo sweater. I got the Oh Marvelous sweater.
And when we're talking about quality, this sweater is so comfy. And you can check it out.
It's much better than the sweater I have on. Definitely.
True.
Don't buy this one. Buy that.
Buy this one.
That one.
Yes, indeed.
Buy that one.
Thank you. All right, ladies. Well, definitely check out the Gumbo Pot Podcast. Also, when you get a chance, check out The Feast LA on Instagram. If you're looking for the website, it's www.thefeast.la. We got recipes. We have episodes of this podcast. We have this beautiful shit here. And everything food related and some things that aren't. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to keep these episodes coming. We're going to have special guests. We're going to be talking about a lot of crazy stuff. Omar's going to tell us a little bit more about how he makes his hair so sexy and his love for beef jerky and ribs.
My keratin treatment.
Lord have mercy. But yeah, it's the Gumbo Pot Podcast, baby. We everywhere, baby.
Hey, my guys.
And we out.